What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to talk about what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall market. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And don't forget about the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY. The offer ends in just 6 days. Anyways, the market is looking at a bit of a decline right over here. I mentioned to everyone that, Tesla, the market was hitting some tough resistance and to be very careful. And as a result, the market is coming down and we're approaching some critical supports. So what happened was we got the Richmond Fed data. As soon as the data came out, the market dipped. What is the data telling us? So the manufacturing index is looking a little bit weak right now. There's weakness in that sector. And we also saw manufacturing shipments down. This is once again showing weakness in manufacturing in the US. The services data was decent overall, very close to expectations, but everything else was showing some weakness. So they're using this as the excuse to dump the markets, and that's part of why we're seeing this decline. If you look at Tesla, we got this big red bar that's developing, which could lead to even more downside as well. So for Tesla, we're looking at this 250 zone as our support. If this fails us, we're going all the way down to this 247 to 246 area. This is where we had this gap and also this key support at 247. If that fails us, we go all the way back down to 244. So be very, very careful. We're barely holding this 250 area. We have resistance at 252. If we break that, we could try to get back up towards, like around 254, but I'm not really counting on that. We have a little bit of weak right here, and I do anticipate a little bit more downside. I think we're going to fill this gap back down to 249. There might be more downside coming to Tesla. I want to give you guys a warning about that. It's not just because of Tesla itself. One factor is that Tesla's Chinese sales did decline just a little bit. Not the end of the world. It's not the final week of September yet. The final week is what's going to matter a lot more. But for now, we are seeing a decline in the markets. So if you look at SPY, we're trying to hold up right here. I said to watch this 571 area, and I said that this is a tough resistance, so be careful. And I also mentioned that 568 is going to be our critical support. If we lost that, we would turn more bearish. I made a video yesterday about why I thought the market may pull back, and so far that's happening. So we were correct about that. So we're looking at 568. We have 569 as one of our resistance levels. If that breaks, we're looking for 570. And our main support's at 568. It's possible SPY pushes a bit, consolidates for a little bit, but I think what's going to happen is within the next couple of days, we will lose 568, taking us down to 565, and eventually 563. So I anticipate some more downside for SPY. I'm going to be 100% blunt and honest about that. I think there's going to be more downside coming, but not immediately. The market may try to recover a little bit, consolidate, but then there's going to likely be more downside coming. I want to be very, very frank about that. For other factors out there, we have ES. This is starting to decline as well. We're testing our 20 EMA as support at 5760. If we lose this, we're looking for a bigger decline towards the 5740 area or below. And we have this resistance at 5780 as well. So we have this high up here. We came down, made a lower high, and this could continue to decline. This would take us all the way down to the lower 5700s. So just be mindful of that. There is a risk of some downside. If we lose that support, for Nvidia, we're choppy right now. We're just chopping around this 116 area. We could be looking for a decline towards 115.5 at the 50 EMA. If that fails us, we're looking for a bigger dip all the way down to fill this gap. So just be careful. There is a risk of a little bit more downside. For Bitcoin, we're dipping a little bit. We have our 20 EMA at 53,175 as our support. If that fails, we're looking for 62,000 and 500. So that's going to be our next level all the way down here. So we could be looking for a little decline right here on Bitcoin. I think it's going to dip towards 62,500. That is what my target is so far. SPY, by the way, is just barely holding 568. If that breaks, we're looking for a bigger tip to the mid 560s. We're barely holding the support I called out. So watch for that. For ES, we're barely at 20,000. If this fails, sorry, not ES, NQ. If NQ loses this, we're looking for a bigger tip all the way down towards 19,800. On the QQQ, we're looking for a bigger tip as well. If we lose 479 to 480, this 20 EMA, we're looking for basically 478. If that fails us, we're looking for a dip all the way down here towards 475. We also have resistance around this 482 area. Right now, I think the QQQ is going to decline to about 480. If that fails us, we're looking for a bigger dip. So be very mindful of that. Aapl pumped and then kind of rejected a little bit, so it still looks kind of bearish. We're looking for 225.5 as our target. If that fails, we're looking for 223. So it still looks a little bit more bearish to me as well. For the IWM, we look a little bit more bearish. We have 220 as our support. If that fails us, We're dipping all the way down towards 218. We have resistance at 220, not to mention 222, but this looks a little bit more bearish to me. We look like we're below our 20 EMA. This might be declining to 218 if that 220 area fails us. So we're just barely holding support right now. For others out there, such as Coinbase, we pumped a bit only to reject. I was talking about 167 to be tested. We actually lost that as well. So we're looking at this support at 165, followed by 162. So it looks more bearish. We have 167 and 169 as resistance. So we might be dipping lower towards the 162s. For Amazon, we pumped and dumped. We're looking at basically 190 support. If that fails us, we're going all the way down to 188. And then we have resistance at 191. So this might decline more towards 190, and then 188 looks more bearish to me. Meta looks more bearish. We're going to be looking at 554 as our next support because we ended up losing 560. I was talking about how we might be losing 560. That range is going to be kind of tough. We went a little bit higher before it ended up dipping, so it is still looking bearish. Watch 554 is the main support on Meta. If that fails us, we dip all the way down towards 544. So be careful. Excuse me. Be careful, guys. Microsoft is looking more bearish. We've dumped on Microsoft. We were calling this out as well. We have support, so we're looking at 428 to see if that could get reclaimed or not. If not, we're looking for support around 425, followed by 423. So it looks more bearish to me. Google's rejecting right here, coming down to fill the gap. It's actually holding up relatively well compared to like its counterparts. So we're looking at like 162.5 as our support. If that continues to decline, we're looking for the 160 area. It still looks more bearish to me. So, anyways, with that being said, I just want to say I appreciate you guys so much for listening. The market's looking heavy, looks more bearish. So I do anticipate more downside. This may drag Tesla down to fill this gap. So be prepared for that. I just want to give you guys the heads up very, very early on. So please have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace out.